right, so 8. Yep, we'll do it that way. 8.3 stock market data charts. So we've been looking at our stock market data numerically, which can be a little like confusing, right? You kind of get lost in the numbers sometimes, you know, what might happen and what things mean, okay? But if we take a look on page 477 there, there's a little image of these things, and I won't replicate it here. I just say, see diagram, page 477. Okay, so these are called bar charts, right? And notice if you look to the right, look at the top image. Okay, there are some number values on the right, and those will be the dollar values throughout a day of that stock's values. It goes up and down. And remember, the stock has an open price and a closing price, and it has a daily high and a daily low, right? And if you take a look at that bar chart, the green one, the daily high is found where? The top of the rectangle, right? And where's the daily low found? The low part. It doesn't necessarily open and close, right? But where is the open price, like at 9:30 in the morning? That little whisker out to the left, right? And then the closing price for the day is that little whisker out to the right. See how they're lined up with numbers on that vertical axis. You get the idea there? Now, what also goes with those is down at the bottom. You want, okay, how many shares were traded that day? What's the volume? So it's like a separate graph, right, with a different interval on the side. So the top of that bottom rectangle is the number of shares traded during that day. And in that case, this case, they traded, what was it, 30 shares? Not 30, what is it? 30 million were traded that day. Okay, back and forth. There were 30 million trades on that particular stock. I know you go, well, it's a big number. Well, that's why we make numbers. Some things are 30 million. Yes, okay. All right. So that so that's a little better, more intuitive visual representation of the numbers we were looking at in the previous section. And you see where it may be a little more helpful if you want to spot something real quick. All right. Oh, look, there's the close of that stock right there. Cool. Okay, you know, if you go through a chart and find it. Okay. Well, so if we understand that anatomy, let's take a look at some examples. Go to example 1. We're on page 478. All right. So it looks like we have some bar charts here. Okay. For different days. Notice the dates are on the bottom, okay? Well, there's 5 different days of trading information. And then the bottom will be the volume. So it goes from April 28th all the way through May 2nd. Okay? They didn't put April in there because they're probably guessing, you know, as adults, you can figure out what comes before May. And it's 28, 29, 30, okay? So the question is, as we look at that, which day had the highest price? May 2nd, right? That's clearly easy to find out, right? So the highest high happened on 5/2, okay? And what was that highest of highs? You have to estimate a little bit in there. What would you say? 8. I'm going to say 67 just because I want to say a different number than you. But either one, like on your homework or something, if you had 68, fine, because you're just kind of reading in between there, right? So there's more detailed charts out in the real world where I can tell you exactly. Okay. So 867 was the highest for that week. What was the lowest of the lows? On April 29th, yep, took a dip there on 4/29, and what was that value? $8. I'm going to say 7. Yeah, that's the number I had in my head. 8.7. Okay. same number. It does mean. Okay, all right. So you kind of get the idea. You can top and bottom of the rectangle, and those whiskers left and right, or what on those? The open and close, right? Okay. So the follow up here on the check. Let's take a look at the check. Read that over. So you can answer the check. What do you think? Which 2 days? And yeah, after hours, right? Because why is it after hours? Because what's different in the 2 days? The open and close, right? And remember, it didn't used to be that before the internet, right? Opens and the close one day was definitely the open during the next day, but overnight, right? So it's between, what were the 2 dates? Let's see, 20, 20, well, we want 2 consecutive days. Let's make sure we got this right. So what was, you said the 29th and 30th? Open, close, open. Yeah, I would say, is that the biggest?
May 1st to 2nd are really close to it.
Let's see.
But it
Plus
looks like
4, 30. Yeah, okay. Let's go ahead and say between 429 and 430. Yeah, I agree with you guys. The biggest one. Yeah. 430. Okay. Again, after hours trade. Right. We'll just do the 3 examples here. Is the third one? Is that that's a bar chart? Yeah, because then they'll do the candlestick one. Yeah. So we'll get through the bar chart ones. So example 2. It's approximately how many shares of Gold Point Manufacturing were traded over the 5-day period. So we're back at the same bar chart. Example. So they're talking about volume, right? So what part of the chart are we going to be looking at? The bottom for each day. And they want to know for the 5-day period. So what do we need to do? Add them all up. So let's estimate here. So what would you say was the volume on the 28th? Yeah, 185 plus the 29th. Say 70 plus probably 75, right? 70 and then 90 probably. And that comes to what? 490. Careful. They're in the millions, right? So that would be 490, 0.000 shares traded. Okay, so you got, when you look at that chart, make sure you know whether it's thousands, hundreds, millions, 10,000s. Okay, it's a significant difference. You don't want to be off by orders of magnitude. You know what an order of magnitude is? It is a power of 10. Right? It's tacking zeros onto the end of things. All right. Well, it was only off by 1 0. Well, you were 10 times off. Okay. All right. Let's go over to example 3 real quick here. It says you don't want to write a story about that. Never mind. Example. Is this example 2? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I don't want to write a story. So over example 3. I got another bar chart in there. Use the information below. Now they want us to construct, so we're going the other way. A 1-day bar chart for Brown Armor Corporation. So example 3, I'm going to have to get a little artistic here. So in the bar chart, it's got an open, it's got a close, right? And it's got a high and a low. And then below that would be volume, right? So those are the things we need to know. and we'll have to work out some interval up the right-hand side, okay? So let's start by drawing some lines, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I have like 7 of them here. So let's do this. 1, 2, 3, huh?
There's a line tool.
I know.
You draw straight enough lines.
You look kind of like that, maybe. So what about our interval? What's the lowest on here? 39, 39. Right? So I'm thinking, and what's the highest?
40, 65.
Yeah, not very far apart, right? So maybe I can count by quarters, like 25-cent intervals, like that. So maybe I'll start out at, I don't know, 39.25. That makes some sense, right? And then 39.50, and you'll have to determine, what seems reasonable for any given one of them, right? And then they've got 39.75, right? And then 40 even. 40, is that going to get us high enough? 40.75. So we have enough of a range there? You think to fit the data they gave us? I think so. All right. All right, let's start putting in some of our values. Let's start, start with the top of the rectangle. The top of the rectangle was what? The daily high. So 40.65. I'll use it, maybe a different color, use like green. So somewhere up in between these two lines, right? Maybe, like this here. I don't know, like that. And what was the lowest of the low for the day? 39.39. So not quite. So somewhere in between here, probably closer to the 25. See what I'm getting at there? And let's draw that. So we got this, the body of it. This isn't that hard, is it? Right? Okay. And now we need the open and close, the whiskers. Where's the open on this? What was the amount of the open from the data? What was the value? $40.10. So in between these two guys, so probably a bit closer there, like that. And then what was the close? I couldn't hear you. 39.79. So a little bit above here, like that. We'd all agree. Crooked there. Maybe I'll just kind of shade that in. All right. Whatever. So there's the one with all the values you need, right? You guys think you can do that, replicate? It's not that hard. You just got to know what the parts of the bar are. But now you got to deal with the volume. Okay. So below that needs to be a volume. They're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got 6 lines, or extend this down. 6 lines for the volume. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So let's think about this here. The volume was 44,500,000. So we do need to start at 0, right? And go up to what? Probably 50. What do you want to count by? Yeah, okay. Do we want to put the full number, millions, in here? What do you think we want to put? What was the value? So it was 40, the volume was 44.5. So let's just do it in millions. So off to the side, you're going to want to write the word millions. Right? So somebody looking at it knows. So I had a volume of, so let's do, so that's 0, 5, 10, 15, no, what do we say? No, we're going by tens. So we're going to do 10 million, 20 million, 30 million, 40 million, and 50 million. And what was that volume again? Say it again.
44.5.
So about halfway there, you'd say, right? Like that. Let me just bring that down and maybe shade it there so it's clear to see. Right, like that. Okay. Any questions on how to do that? All right. So tomorrow we'll pick up with the candlestick part of it. Pause that.